Hello everyone, and welcome to the next episode on working on the V10 Touareg TDI. In today's episode, we're going to tackle an issue with our steering wheel controls that I've been having for a while. The issue we have is I have no control over the radio volume, or I'm not able to change any of the settings on the cluster. Checking the vehicle control modules, I keep getting an error that says no communication with the steering wheel electronics. And also, I'm not able to turn on and off the steering wheel heating, or like I said, any of the other controls, which is kind of an indication that I might be having an issue with my clock spring. So in this episode, we're going to tackle this issue by trying to replace the clock spring. I already bought one off of eBay, which I got from Europe, because you can't really find these things here anymore. So yeah, let's get going, and I'll show you how to take apart everything and how to get to your clock spring and replace it. And remember guys, these videos are for demonstration purposes only. Work on your car on your own discretion. So in order to take off the steering wheel airbag, what you need to do is you need to turn your steering wheel 180 degrees so it's facing down in order to access the two holes that are on the back side of it. And the best way to do that is to first start your vehicle to unlock it. So once you have your steering wheel in this 180 position, you turn the vehicle off, you will see that there are two holes here in the back. So the next step you need to do is you need to take some sort of flat screwdriver and put it inside the hole in this direction. Once you have it in that direction, you need to turn towards the inside of the vehicle. Towards the inside, the center line of the steering wheel. Once you do that, you will hear a pop and the side of the steering wheel airbag will pop out. Then what you need to do is you move over to the next hole, put it in, but this time you turn towards the center again. So once you have that, your steering wheel will pop out. Steering wheel airbag will pop out. I went ahead and did that beforehand just to make things easier to show you. So once that's done, your steering wheel airbag is loose. The next step is to turn it back to center again. And it's very important that you keep your steering wheel straight before you start this job. Because if at any point you're off, your clock spring might be off. So when you put in your new one, you might be off a few degrees. And if you're off a few degrees, you might actually end up damaging the clock spring by turning it too much. So in order to do that, check your wheels, make sure they're straight, and check your steering wheel, make sure that's straight. Next step is to pull out the airbag gently, and down here in the middle you will see a yellow connector with a tab. Press the tab and pull the connector off. There's one, and there's another one that's a black connector with a red little tab, and that comes all the way up to the back side of this. Now my steering wheel has a heater, so some of the Touaregs might not have all these connections, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Once you open it, you'll see which one needs to be disconnected. In this case, I'm not going to remove that connector because I have a cable that runs all the way back down in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove this black connector. And in order to do that, you have to press this locking tab in the front, push it in, and it's going to be a little tough to get it out, but hold it straight and pull it up to get it off. Now you can set aside your airbag, and best place for me is always to put it on the passenger footwell and get it out of the way. Now, next step is going to be to remove the steering wheel. But judging from what I could see here, we still have to take off this black connector here with the red clip. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that piece. So, because this is attached to the whole steering wheel, so once you take the steering wheel off, this little wire harness is going to come off with it. Okay, so in order to take off your steering wheel, there's a single bolt here in the middle that has a triple square. So let me go grab my triple square. Okay, so the triple square is a 12 millimeter. So these things are sometimes pretty tight, so you gotta hold it with one hand, try to break it loose with the other. You can also use your knees. Okay, so we got it loose. You can also hear I'm having an issue with the actual steering wheel locking mechanism, which we'll fix in another episode. Now again, before you remove the steering wheel, make sure your steering wheel is straight, and your wheels are straight. It's very important that you keep everything straight. So you take the nut off. As you can see, it has Loctite on it, blue Loctite. Okay, next step is going to be marking your steering wheel. So when you put it back in, you don't have to do an alignment. Because if you don't do that, if you're off slightly, it's going to cause your steering wheel to be crooked while you're driving. As you can see, there's a little mark here. It looks like someone's been here before. But I'm going to go ahead and add another mark to it just for me. Simple straight line with the Sharpie should be enough. Then you could gently pull out the steering wheel, blow the dust off, and put this aside. Okay, now we have access to our clock spring. But once you take off the clock spring is going to lock. It won't turn anymore. It's because of this. So once you put the steering wheel back on, it pushes this pin back and it allows your steering wheel, allows your clock spring to fully turn. But when you don't have that on, it's going to lock. Your new one is going to have the same thing. And if you buy it from a dealership, they'll actually have a full piece of red, like a little hook, as you can see here. That tells you exactly that it's locked and you can't move it. So once you install that, you have to break that off to be able to put your steering wheel back on. So in order to take off this cover here, you have to start off by removing the two T25 screws here. Then we have to take these two covers here on the sides, pull them out. Mine's already broken, so old. Forward, drop down, take this piece out now, turn the side, unplug the electronic steering wheel adjustment, top cover, lay it back, and now we can access clock spring. So once you have access to your clock spring, next step is to take your new part and look around to figure out how to actually take off your old one, because sometimes you don't remember everything. So what we can see here is that we have 1, 2, and 3 locking tabs here that need to be released before you can pull the clock spring out. So let's go ahead and get started. You can use a pick here, preferably at 90 degrees, but in my case I'm gonna just do it with a straight pick. Oh, and also there's a part number here that you can check to make sure you got the right part. So in our case, we have 8E09. I can't see it. I can see it on this new one, but I can't see it on this one. I have to take it out first. But they seem to be the same number because they both end with E at the end. 541E. 541E. You have to make sure, because sometimes some steering wheels come with heated, and some of them don't have the heating option. Some of them have extra buttons, so you have to make sure you're getting the right one, because some things won't function if you don't put the right clock spring in. You might even get check engine lights or faults in the system.